Good. I'd just like to say I'm glad to hear a female voice on the radio of wisdom nowadays.
Well, geez, thank you very much.
Inundated man's perspective, so it's good to hear, especially local radio, a female twist on everything.
Well,
But,
thanks. Thanks, I
you're
appreciate
welcome. I know we've been talking about town halls and what's going on in the current administration, but I would just like to point out, if you haven't mentioned it already, is the going back to the election of 2000, 2004, the big to-dos, the elections and the Patriot Act uproars and the Iraq War uproars when people would yell and scream at the former president. And no one ever said, I don't recall many people saying that it was parties behind it.
Right.
And I've never heard the media, left or otherwise, saying it was angry mobs. It was simply people upset with their government. And I remember the left saying, this is, well, there's been, all week there's been clips being played on other stations that talk about Hillary Clinton and other leaders saying, you know, this is our party, or this is our country, and we'll fight for what's right. And they go on, and now that the right's doing it, now we're just an angry mob, and
Right.
It's just very strange how they're reporting it out there.
It's really frustrating because it's the double standard is so obvious to all of us. It's okay to be angry, it's okay to be upset, it's okay to protest, but apparently it's only okay if you are a progressive, and it just goes to show how much power the progressives have on our media, and it's kind of a scary thing to watch. So thanks for your call.
Hey, all right, thanks.
All right,
All
bye-bye.
right, bye.
Speaking of frightening things and things that don't make any sense, a lot of people are talking about this 1233 and claiming it's eugenics, claiming it's promoting euthanasia, and of course, if you say that, you're a lunatic, you're on the fringes. But I found an interesting article today on JillStanek.com, who's talks about life issues. And what she said was that the former Hemlock Society, which is now known as Compassionate Choices, had a huge part in drafting that text of 1233. In fact, Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer, recall Oregon was the first state to legalize physician-assisted suicide, wrote on July 28th that he said this, quote, "I know a little bit about this section because it's a bill that I wrote, which was incorporated into the overall legislation." So basically he's admitting here that the former Hemlock Society helped draft this portion of H.R. 3200. I mean, it's black and white. It's right here. So it's not crazy to infer that that's what this segment is talking about. Now, Compassion and Choices group calls itself an aid and dying movement. They're the ones that were behind the legalization of assisted suicide in Oregon. And here's what, on their website, here's what they claim to be involved in. Quote, "An organization dedicated to the care of terminally ill patients, including those seeking a hastened death. Compassion and Choices improves care and expands choice at the end of life. Our professional staff and trained volunteers help thousands of clients each year by guiding their search for a peaceful, humane death. We offer information on self-determined dying. Our team of litigators and legislative experts fight bills that would force patients to endure futile invasive treatment, aka fights bills that believe in the dignity of life and that no one but God should be hastening death." Another part of Compassion and Choices group is that they, in 1960 in Harper's Magazine, promoted voluntary and involuntary euthanasia. I'm not sure what involuntary euthanasia means. I mean, I think we all have some common sense. They're basically talking about murder here. They've worked tirelessly with supportive members of Congress to include in health reform legislation these provisions which require Medicare and would require our future health care system to have patients consult with their doctors and with, their litigators and their professional staff and volunteers who can come in and encourage what they call involuntary euthanasia. That's Compassion and Choices, formerly the Hemlock Society, who, according to Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer, were behind the text in this portion of 1233 of H.R. 3200. Speaking of the health care bill, I came across some great information on concernedwomenforamerica.org, CWFA.org. And what they did was compile this fantastic list, which instead of listing what the health care bill is going to do or what the health care bill is not going to do, they basically listed all of the amendments to the bill that were presented and defeated. And it's all in black and white. These are amendments that both Republicans and Democrats said, you know what, we don't like this portion of it. How about we amend it to look like this? So here's the list of the amendments that they wanted to add that were defeated, either in committee or later on. One amendment was to stop the government-run health care plan, period. They didn't want to have that option put into the exchange. That was defeated. Next amendment. Prevent bureaucrats from making personal medical decisions for patients. They specifically wanted an amendment that would prevent bureaucrats from making personal medical decisions for patients. That amendment was defeated. Require all members of Congress to get their health insurance through the proposed government-run plan. Of course, no. That was defeated. Establish a $1 trillion deficit cap, meaning if the budget deficit went above $1 trillion, everything is halted. We're not going to go through with this. That was defeated. And, of course, you had Tim Geithner, who recently asked Congress to raise our debt ceiling, the cap that we already have, above $12 trillion. So that deficit cap was defeated. Keep the federal government out of health care decisions. What they did was wanted to prohibit the federal government from conducting these comparative effectiveness research where the government comes in and determines which treatments can be administered to whom based on age, based on cost effectiveness, based on quality of life. It's otherwise known as rationing. That's what it is. They defeated that amendment.